Hey everyone, in this lecture we are going to continue discussing chapter 4, making decisions. In the previous lecture we introduced the concept of if statement. So we learned about if else when you have two outcomes, and also we learned about nested if statement. We have an if statement inside another one. So today we are going to continue from where we left off. So we're going to be talking about when you have multiple outcomes, not only two outcomes, more than two, like three, four, five. And then also when you have a range of values, not that specific value. So let's switch to Visual Studio and give an example. So let's take an example of activities in college. For example, the students on a specific day, they have multiple activities to attend based on their status, like student status or grade level. So if they are freshmen, they have a certain activity. If they are sophomore, they have a different activity and so on. So let's assume that we have a variable of type integer or string, and then we're going to call it status, like status of the student. And then we're going to prompt the user, enter your student status or grade level, for example. And then we're going to save it in status. And then we're going to put here if status equals to, let's do it as a string. So I'm going to put string here. I'm going to put if status is freshman. I mean, you can use integer if you want to, and then you can use um, a number instead, but probably it's easier to just make it string. So if status equals freshman, I'm going to say out. You have a guest speaker, for example, in the auditorium. Okay, so all freshmen need to go to the auditorium to attend a speech um, from a guest speaker. And then I'm not going to put else because if I put else, that means I have only two outcomes, but I have more. I have four. So I'm going to put else if. If status is equal to sophomore, then they have something else. So you have a field trip. Okay. So all freshmen they have a field trip on that day. And then another outcome is if you are junior, then we're gonna say for example that you have a college visit. College visit. Finally, I'm gonna put else because that's the last one. Okay. That means if you are not freshman, if you are not sophomore, if you are junior, then you have to be senior. So I can put else as senior if I want to, but if this is the only, I mean, I can put that. I can put if you are senior, and then I'm gonna put else. That means if they enter anything else, then I'm gonna say invalid. So else, if you are a senior, then you have something like let's say you will attend a graduation rehearsal, something like that. Okay. And then I'm going to put else. That means if they enter something other than this, then it must be an error. So I'm going to put here invalid entry. Please try again. Please try again. This is an example of if else if, but only if you have a specific value, like freshman, that's a one value, sophomore is value. So we will be talking about what happens if you have a range of values, like between, let's say, one value, another value. So there's a lot of values in between. So we'll talk about this in a minute. But this is how the if else if works. Okay. So now let's run the program. I'm gonna put here. It's gonna ask me for the student steps. So I'm gonna put here. Be careful that you don't misspell it, because if you misspell, then you're gonna get something else. See, freshman, you have a guest speaker in the auditorium. So far, so good. So that's the only answer you get. You don't get anything else. So basically, in the if else if, it execute that statement based on the condition, and then it would exit the program. So if you put sophomore, say you have a field trip. That's it. And then what about if you are a junior? Look, if I do it as junior here, and then I forgot, let's say J is supposed to be uppercase. So you may think I'm gonna get like a college visit, but look what happened, invalid, because it's case sensitive. So you have to be careful about that. So I need to make sure that it is spelled exactly how it is. So junior, oh, you have a college visit. And then finally, if I enter senior, then you will attend the graduation rehearsal. See, everything goes. Now, what happens if I enter something other than these four options? Then you're gonna get the same answer, invalid. So let's say I enter something student, and let's say, invalid entry. Please try again. So you need to choose one of these four options. All right. So this is when you have a specific value. Now, what about if we have a range of values? Let me give you an example here. Let's say this is a grade scale. Okay. If the student gets a grade between, look, we have a range of a not specific value. If the student gets between anything between 90 and 100, he will get A. If the student gets anything between 80 and 89, he will get B. And then anything between 7 and 79 will get C. And other than that, or less than that, it will be F, or failing. Okay? So how can we do that in our program? All right? So let me go back, and then, okay, let me just delete this. And then I'm going to prompt the user to enter. So we have a grade variable. And then we're going to prompt the user, enter the grade, or your grade, or final grade. Okay? And then I'm going to save it in my variable. So now I'm going to put, let me start. Here you have the choice. You can either start from the top, like from A and going down, B, C, F, or you can start from the bottom. It doesn't really matter. So let's start from the top. If the grade is anything higher or equal than 90. Now here the assumption is we are not going to go beyond 100. I mean, we can fix that too. But let's assume that when I say grade is higher or equal than 90, then the last one is 100 and it will stop. Okay. So I'm going to put here, see out. Excellent. You got A. Okay. So that's the first one. Now my question is, what about people or students who will get B? What shall I do here? So I'm gonna put else. Okay, else means that this is false. That means it's less than 9. Well, so when you say less than 90, you want to include in everything else. You want to include in B, C, and F. So that's why I have another statement. I have another condition. I'm going to put else means less than 90, and then it has to be higher than 80 or equal. See, I want you to be careful about this, right? So when I say else F, that means else means less than 90, and then I have to limit to only 80 something. So else F grade. So now I am gonna put, okay, say great job, good job, you got B. Okay, and I'm gonna get you the same thing. Else, what does else mean? Less than 80. But less than 80, it will include C and F. I don't want to limit it to it. So I have to add another condition, and it should be less than 80 and higher or equal than 70. So if it is the case, then I'm gonna put CF. Okay, you did okay. You got C, for example. Now, since we have only one left, I'm gonna put else. That means it doesn't really matter what you got. As long as it is less than 70, then you are failing. So I'm gonna put here CF. Sorry, you failed. You got F. All right. So this is how you use F else F. Okay. So keep in mind that some people they repeat the second one less than nine. You don't have to repeat less than. Some people they do like this. Else if a grade is less than 90. Well, you don't have to put that. Why? Because that's what else does. Else means less than 90, so there is no reason to add it again. Else means less than 90, you just have to add the second one, higher or equal than 80 to limit it to B, okay? And the same thing for here, there is no reason to add, less than 70 because, I'm sorry, less than 80 because it's already included in else, okay? Now, by the way, there is another way to do this. And by the way, the assignment that we have to work on is very similar to this, but we're going to be talking about the income. So let me go back to assignment and show you what you are supposed to do here. It's very, very similar to our example. So if you go down, see that? It's the same thing. You have a range of values, but here we have the income. You're going to prompt the user to enter the income. But as you can see right here, this is from the bottom. So you can start from the top, over 40,000. So this is the same thing, right? You're going to start from the top if you want to, from here. And then you're going to start the same thing, just like the grade, okay? So for example, if you go here, and then we have income, so I'm going to put income here. Enter the income, and then you're going to save it in the income variable. Now, as I said, you have the choice. You can either start from the top from the bottom. So here you're going to put if the income higher or equal than 40,000, right? Is that what it says? So higher or equal than 40,000. So it says over, so I'm not going to use the equal sign. So I'm not going to use the equal sign. So what happened if your income is higher than 40,000? So your tax rate is 23.7%, which means basically you're gonna multiply because we're trying to display how much income they are going to pay. So I'm going to multiply. So I'm gonna do something like this. So if it is higher, I'm gonna put your income tax is, and then I'm gonna put income multiplied by 0.237, right? 23.7. 0.237. You see? Yes, 23.7. So you change it to a decimal value. Or you can multiply by 23.7 and divide by 100. Now here, it's better maybe to use double because in case you have a decimal. Okay. So double income. Okay. And then the same thing, I'm going to put else if. Again, like what we did before, if the income is higher than, what's the second one? We already know else, it means less than 40,000. So I'm just going to put if it is higher than 20,000, 20,000, See? Now in this case, if it is higher than okay, here I'm going to put equal sign. Okay, so we can put equal sign. So I'm going to put here your income tax is income tax is and then I'm going to multiply by that. Income multiply, what's the tax rate? See, 10.8. So you're going to multiply by 0.108. The same thing right here. So this is very similar to the example we have about the grade. Okay? Because remember, else means less than 40,000, the opposite of this. The same thing right here. When I say else means less, there's no reason to repeat that. And then you can continue with the same thing. Higher or equal than what? Then 10,000, you get 5.5%, and then you continue with the rest. So if it is higher than 10,001, then you are going to say your income tax is, and then you do the same thing. Income, you always separate with this. If you have a text and then value, income multiplied by 0.055, which is 5.5%. Okay? And then you do the same thing for the rest until you get to the end. So here you have, so you're going to add another one, else f higher or equal than 5,000. What? And the last one, you're going to put else. Else, you're just going to put income. Your tax is whatever the income is because you have 0%. Okay? But it should be an easy assignment for you, as you can see right here. Okay? And then I said there is another way to do it. If you don't want to use else f, there is another way. Let me do it for the grade. Okay? Go back to the grade example. You can use and. Okay? I'll show you how you can use and. And means this condition should be true and the second one should be true. So going back to the grade example, so I'm going to put here Cn is enter your grade. And then I'm going to put if the grade, but here I'm not going to put else f, I'm going to put if it is higher or equal than 90. And this is how you put and that's 2 ampersand. How do you have this symbol? So you're going to use control and number 7 at the same time. So control and then 7. And grade is less or equal than what? For the first one, let's say then 100. So I'm going to put here, you got A. You got A. Now, so put in the else F, I'm just going to put F. Grades, I'm just going to put them as a 7. So this is an alternative. So if it is higher or equal, that's for B. If it's higher or equal than 80, and grades, so some people may find this one easier, less or equal than 89, because I don't want to include 90, okay? 9 is included here, so I should not include it in B. Then you're going to say you got B. And then finally, well, now I have two more. if the grade for C, if it's higher or equal than 70, but it has to be also less than 79, not 80, because 80 is already included in B. So I'm going to put here C else you get C. And finally, I'm going to put if anything, I don't have to put and here because anything less than 70 or less or equal than 69, then you can put you get F. You get F. So that's an alternative to else F, you know. But it does the same thing because if you run the programs, you can try here. If I put anything higher, okay, let's see here, it looks like there is an error here. Let me see what the error here. So grade